What happens when you give someone the keys to your business accounts, then need to part ways? One of my clients found out the hard way when they lost their entire social media history overnight. But here's the thing, this story does have a happy ending, and more importantly, it is preventable. Today, I'm sharing 3 things every business owner needs to know about keeping control of their digital assets. Welcome to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and I'll break them down into bite-sized tips you can use straight away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and Shine, it's your business tech boost with me, Charly Leetham, episode number 667. It is Firewall Friday, and we are going to be talking about who really owns your business accounts, how to make sure they are always yours. Now, I'm not here to scare you or make you paranoid about everyone you work with, because honestly, most contractors and VAs are absolutely brilliant. They are professional people. But good systems protect everyone, including them. So let's talk about how to set things up properly from day one. This starts with a little bit of history. This history is with my client. This is recent history. My client signed up for a new social media platform or management platform and gave the admin login to their VA to set everything up. It seemed efficient at the time. The platform was to manage multiple accounts, so the VA set it up quite correctly as an agency account. My client had access to the admin account because they had the login. However, so did the VA. Now, the working relationship ended, as this sometimes happens. And when it did, the VA logged into the agency account, changed the email address and the password, and deleted my client's connected accounts. All that historical data. Now, when I say they deleted my client's connected accounts, I mean they deleted the accounts within the management system, not on the platforms. All that historical data that was in that management system was lost. Now, it's possible that the VA didn't understand what they were doing, the way they were doing it, and that this was really an honest mistake. And I really would prefer to give them the benefit of the doubt. However, the result was the same. My client was locked out of their account and their data removed. The lesson here isn't don't trust people. The lesson is that your business accounts need to stay under your control from the very first step, and anyone who works with you should have their own access. Now, there's a very, very big difference between giving someone their own login on your system to help you manage something and sharing your login with them. When you give someone their own access, you can revoke it at any time. When you share your login, you're both in there with the equal amounts of control. And if they change your password before you do, you're locked out. If they change their email address, you can't do a password reset to reconnect it. Most platforms, however, or a lot of platforms, have proper permission structures. There's the owner, there's the admin, there's the editor, there's the viewer, and they exist for a reason. So you really, really should be using them. Now, I'm fairly certain that some of you are sitting there going, but Charly, we hire someone because we don't know how to do all this stuff or we don't have time to do it. And you know what? That's entirely fair. It's fair enough. But here's what I want you to consider. You don't need to know how to use the whole platform. You just need to create the account. Sign up with your business email, set up your password, enable 2-factor authentication. That's it. That's the bit you do. Well, actually, there's one more step you need to do. You then invite your VA or your contractor in with their own login and appropriate permissions. 5 to 10 minutes of your time is typically all it takes to make sure you remain the owner and you protect your accesses. Now, different platforms handle this differently, but most professional tools have tiered access, as I just said. An agency account like my client's VA setup is designed for managing multiple client accounts, and it's actually the right structure for that kind of work. The problem wasn't the agency account, the problem was that both people had the same login. If you're working with someone who needs agency level access, that's fine, but they should have their own credentials to access it. If they leave, you change their password, revoke their access, and your account stays intact. So here's an action item from what I've just spoken about. Before you hand any new platform over to anyone else, spend 5 minutes doing the initial sign up yourself with your business email, a strong password, and two-factor authentication. Yep, I'm bashing that two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication at the moment. Store those login details with your password manager. I recommend Zoho Vault, but there are a number of good ones out there, and then invite your team member with their own login at the appropriate access level. 5 to 10 minutes now can save you months of recovery, hours and hours or months of recovery later. I helped my client get their account back. It took me time. There was a lot of stress and there was a lot of back and forwards with the provider. And trust me, you really don't want to do that. If technology really isn't your thing, though, and I totally get that, you're running a business and you've got enough on your plate. However, I don't understand it isn't a reason to share your login and hand over control. It's a reason to get help from someone independent. You want someone who isn't going to be managing the account long term or who has a stake in controlling it. All you want is their only job to be to set it up correctly and hand it back to you. That's where someone like myself can come in and help you out. I help clients set up their systems properly, document everything, and then I step away, or I try to step away. The account is yours and the knowledge is yours. If you're going to bring in someone to help, here's what matters. They should be independent and not the same person who will be managing the account ongoing. They should be willing to explain what they're doing rather than just doing it behind closed doors. They should set everything up under your ownership with your credentials documented for you. And they should be happy to hand over everything and walk away. If someone's reluctant to give you full access to your own accounts, you really need to be concerned about that. Now, when that person does help you set up a business system, you should receive documentation as well. I'm not talking about a novel, I'm not talking about War and Peace. I mean a record of what accounts were created, what email addresses they're using, what usernames or account IDs are there, and who has access at what level. The other thing that you need to that documentation should contain is where you need to go to make changes. Like I said, this doesn't need to be complicated or war and peace. It can be a single page, and that can often be enough. It can be put into a secure note on your password manager. It can be put into a document. I wouldn't recommend putting passwords into a document, but I would recommend having everything but the passwords in there. If the person helping you can't or won't provide this, ask them why. Now, there is a difference here between set it up for me and help me set it up. It's very subtle. It's a very subtle but important distinction. Set it up for me puts someone else in the driver's seat, while help me set it up keeps you in control while you get the expertise you need. When I work with clients, I really try that second approach wherever possible. It's not always possible, but I really try to do that. I try to guide you through the setup, explain what each step does, make sure you understand enough to manage the basics. You don't need to become a tech expert, but you should know where your accounts live, how to log in, and how to check who has access. Now, this isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about building enough knowledge to stay in control. Every time you work with a consultant or a contractor or a tech setup, you have an opportunity to learn something. Ask questions like, why are we doing it this way? What would happen if I needed to change this later? You don't need to understand everything, but understanding the basics of your own business system is part of being a business owner. And honestly, most of it is simpler than you think once someone explains it properly. Okay, the last part of this is offboarding. You should be offboarding with intention, with intention. Don't rely on goodwill. This is the bit that really feels uncomfortable though, isn't it? The idea of saying someone to someone, I don't want you working for me, or I need to let you go and I need to remove all your accesses. It's very uncomfortable, but it is important. When you're ending a working relationship, whether it's with a VA, a contractor, or even an employee, don't wait until after the conversation to remove their access. I'm not saying you should assume the worst about people because most people are professional and would never do what happened to my client. Now, as I said, that situation may well have been an honest mistake. It doesn't matter. The results were the same. Systems shouldn't rely on goodwill. They should protect everyone, including the person that is leaving. Remove access first, then have the conversation. It's not personal, it's just good business practice. If you work with VAs or contractors regularly, or if you are just starting to work with them and you think this is, well, not even if you think, if you're just starting to work with them, you should have an offboarding checklist. It doesn't need to be fancy, just a list of every system they have access to, including social media accounts, project management tools, email, file storage, scheduling software, and whatever else they touch as part of their role. When the relationship ends, you go through that list and remove access from each one. If you don't have this list, create it right now while things are good, rather than waiting until you need it urgently and you're stressed and something is going to fall through the cracks. Something else that catches people out are connected accounts. For example, this social media management tool might have been connected to a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a LinkedIn profile. When you remove someone from the management tool, you need to ensure that it automatically removes their access to the connected accounts. Does it do that? Not always. Some of them don't. You need to check each connected platform separately by going into them to check who has page access, who has access to each account. And don't assume that removing access in one place removes it from everywhere. Now, how long do you wait? How long before, or how long between terminating access and telling someone that you're no longer going to be working with them? A simple rule could really be the 24-hour rule. When you decide a working relationship is ending, you have 24 hours to remove all access before any conversations happen. This might sound harsh, but think of it this way. You're not doing it because you don't trust them. You're doing it because it's professional, systematic, and it's a good way to handle the transitions. Businesses do this with employees all the time, and your contractor or VA really should understand this. If they don't, that might tell you something. So here's the good news from all of this. We got the account back. We worked with the provider, verified ownership. Uh, they gave me access so that I could then go in and set up everything properly this time with separate logins for different people, for different contractors, and clear access levels. We didn't recover the deleted accounts. They were deleted. That was unfortunate. And honestly, I want to right here give a shout out to that company. They know who they are. I want to give a shout out to that company for working with me to do this. Yes, I had to go through a lot of hoops to be able to prove that these were our accounts. This was my client's account, that they did have access, and explain what went on. But they gave me access and they fixed this all up for me. Now, my client does have full control. I've given them proper documentation and I've given them a clear process for granting and revoking access in the future. What could have been a disaster and is still a minor disaster, but not a huge one, became a learning experience, and we've set up a much, much stronger system for them. That's the mindset I want you to take away from this. If something like this happens to you, don't fix the immediate problem, but don't just fix the immediate problem, but use it to build a better system for next time. All right, guys, so what do you think? Have I raised more questions here than I've answered? I kind of hope so. It's how we learn and grow, isn't it? Have you had this experience? Have you done this? Have you had it happen to you? How did it go? What worked, what didn't? I'd love to know. Leave comments wherever you're watching or listening to this video. If it was useful, I would really, truly appreciate a like, and maybe you could share it with a friend as well. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so by hitting the subscribe button and ringing the bell if you're doing it on one of the channels that will let you do that. And you will find out when I drop more content. Now, if you need help with any of this, I am here to help. If you haven't already booked your free 30-minute breakthrough session, you can do that by visiting my website, askcharlyleetham.com, and clicking the pink button, magenta button at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Reach out and book more time. And if you've already done that and you've done your free, you've taken your free session, reach out and book more time with me. I would love to help. That's it for today. Firewall Friday. I'm going to see you on Monday for Mindset Monday. Have a good day, guys. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.